Hello everyone, welcome back to India Business Insights. In this video, we will look at Dr. Reddy Laboratories, a global pharmaceutical company headquartered in Hyderabad, India. Let's know about its history and milestones. In 1970, the Indian government, then led by Indira Gandhi, abrogated law respecting international pharmaceutical patents. The move meant to reduce the cost of providing healthcare to India's large and exceedingly poor population, had the effect of supercharging the country's pharmaceutical sector. With a long history in process chemistry and large and highly educated pool of scientists, the sector quickly became experts at reverse engineering and then copying the drugs developed by the world's large multinationals. The new industry quickly became one of the world's most energetic markets by the 1990s. There were more than 20,000 companies operating in India's pharmaceuticals industry. Indian producers were able to produce drugs and their components for a fraction of the cost of their Western counterparts and quickly found an enormous demand throughout the developing world. Despite the highly competitive domestic market as well as the slender margins available from the copied, yet many would call them pirated drugs. Dr. Anji Reddy, the son of well-to-do turmeric farmer in Andhra Pradesh in the south of India, was one of the early entrants in the new and fast-growing market. His inspiration goes to his farmer, as he grew up watching him making herbal pills and distributed them without charging any penny. In 1984, Reddy founded Dr. Reddy's Laboratories with an initial investment of Rs 25 lakhs. Reddy jumped into the market of producing copies, taking advantage of the 1970 law. Before we go any further, if you have been to our channel before, I urge you to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Please also press the notification bell. In case you are the first time visitor, please make sure to watch right till the end and then consider subscribing to our channel. Reddy's grew quickly, adding a large number of formulations and achieving strong local success with its NISE range of painkillers. The company also had success with its copies of Bayer's antibiotic ciprofloxacin and especially with an AstraZeneca's operazoles, which under the trade name Losec had become the world's largest selling drug. Meanwhile, Reddy's took advantage of India's low wage and production costs to boost its production of bulk active. By 1986, the company prepared to expand still further and listed its stock on the Bombay Exchange. In that year, also the company began its first export of bulk actives, including methyl dopa. The company achieved another crucial milestone in 1987 when it gained US FDA approval for its ibuprofen formulation. In the meantime, Reddy's continued to develop its bulk active business, becoming one of India's largest exporters of drug ingredients. In order to support that growth, the company made its first acquisition of Benzex Laboratories Private Limited, a bulk active specialist. Among India's 20,000 or so drug makers, Anji Reddy was the most visionary. He decided that Indian pharmaceutical firms could not prosper forever by copying patented foreign inventions and selling them to India and the rest of the poor world. In 1992, Reddy founded Dr. Reddy's Research Foundation and determined to lead his company through the transition from copier to pharmaceutical innovator. In 1993, the company's new research and development wing was operational and set to perform drug discovery work in a variety of fields, including metabolic disorders such as diabetes and cancer treatments, among others. In 1994, DRL issued GDRs representing equity shares in order to construct a new facility dedicated to producing generic drugs capable of meeting the legislative requirements of Western markets. The company also opened a US subsidiary in New Jersey that year. By 1995, Reddy's initial research and development efforts had already paid off, as the company filed its first patent application for a new and promising anti-diabetes formulation. The year 1997 marked a new era for Dr. Reddy's. In that year, the US FDA adopted new rules designed to encourage the growth of the generic drug market in the United States, which provided a 6-month exclusivity period for the first company to gain approval to the market newly available drug in a generic form. Company filed an abbreviated new drug application ANDA for a generic version of the popular anti-nuclear medication Zantac. In 1999, Dr. Reddy's joined the Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance as a founding member in an effort to promote the development of generic drugs in India. In the year 2000, the company made another important acquisition, this time of Chiminer Drugs Limited. Though Chiminer is largely into bulk drugs and formulation, around 74% of its turnover is accounted by exports. With Chiminer's strong export focus and other advantages, the merger would make a lot of sense as DRL could now get a much better valuation in the US markets. DRL became the third largest pharmaceutical player in India with a post-integration turnover of above rupees 8 billion. Dr. Reddy's global ambition now took it to the New York Stock Exchange, where the company listed its stocks in 2001, becoming the first Asian pharmaceutical company outside of Japan to do so. The year 2002 also marked the company's first overseas acquisition when it paid €9 million to acquire the United Kingdom's BMS Laboratories Limited and its marketing and distribution subsidiary Meridian Healthcare Limited. That purchase enabled the company to expand into UK and ultimately European generics market. In 2007, Dr. Reddy's launches the world's first biosimilar monoclonal antibody MAB rituximab. The product makes treatment of cancer like non-Hodgkin's lymphoma accessible to millions of patients worldwide. In 2010, Dr. Reddy's launches the world's first biosimilar darbepoetin alpha in the world and brings relief to millions of anemia patients. To touching a revenue of $1 billion in the mid-2000s, the company made several drugs to treat certain autoimmune disease to entering into Colombia with a portfolio of high-quality and affordable medicines for cancer patients in 2016. The company has come a long way. In 2020, to combat COVID-19, Dr. Reddy's laboratory made several partnerships from all over the world to bring an innovative therapeutic approach to India. They came up with its first generic oitic suspension products in the US. Today, Dr. Reddy's laboratories offer a wide range of portfolio of products and services including APIs, branded generics, biosimilars, and OTC. Dr. Reddy's offer over 200 high-quality generic formulation of patented medicines in over 80 countries across the globe. Generic drugs are those that are not covered by patents and are permitted to be manufactured and sold by any company at a fraction of the cost. Tablets, capsules, injections, and topical creams form largest part of their major therapeutic areas like gastrointestinal, cardiovascular, diabetology, oncology, pain management, and dermatology. Over the years, along with generics, the company also established itself in the field of discovery of new chemical entities, NCEs, but with little success. Now let's talk about manufacturing facilities. Company has 22 CGMP compliant manufacturing facilities with a workforce of 25,498 permanent employees and workers across 74 countries and 48 nationalities. It has 8 commercial US FDA inspected API pharma plants, of which 6 are in India and 1 in Mexico and the UK. The Bachupalli facility in Hyderabad is the largest manufacturing facility of Dr. Reddy, also recognized as part of Global Lighthouse Network by World Economic Forum. Even though all the facilities are fully compliant with US FDA regulations, let's have a look at the outcomes of recent US FDA audits. In July 2022, the formulation manufacturing facility at Srikakulam was audited by the US FDA. Subsequently, 2 observations were issued. Company responded to the observation in July 2022 and in August 2022. An Establishment Inspection Report (EIR) was issued by the US FDA indicating the closure of the audit. In May 2023, an API manufacturing facility at Bolaram was audited by the US FDA. Subsequently, 1 observation was issued which is currently in process. Let us now talk about its R&D capabilities. The company has full-fledged R&D division continuously engaged in research on new products and process improvement on existing products. It has 8 R&D facilities engaging 3,087 scientists. It invested roughly around 19 million rupees in R&D, accounting for nearly 7.9% of its revenue, which is the most among its peers, with Cipla investing 5.9% and Sun Pharma investing 5.5% of their revenues. 20 to 25% of R&D spending of DRL is towards biosimilars, with the first wave of launches expected in financial year 2027. Aided by its strong focus on R&D, it launched 25 new products during the year, among which the major new challenges were lenalidomide capsules, sorafenib, and pemetrexed injection. During the financial year 2023, it launched the generic version of Revlimid under the name lenalidomide capsules in the United States, with the first two market status and 180 days of generic drug exclusivity for capsule in 2.5 mg and 20 mg strengths. Revlimid is a top-selling cancer drug from Bristol Myers Squibb, which made a sale of $8 billion before going generic in 2022. It represents a sizable opportunity for Dr. Reddy's. As per the agreement with Bristol Myers, it can sell limited volumes of generic Revlimid till January 31, 2026. Now let's talk about its financial. Moving on to the financial performance, the revenue of the company on year-on-year basis was up 15% at around rupees 245.9 billion as compared to the previous year. As per the management, it benefited from the limited volume launch of lenalidomide and the sale of some non-strategic assets. Company reported a whopping 91% year-on-year increase in net profit, which came in at rupees 45.1 billion for the year 2023. This represents a PAT margin of 18.3% of revenues versus 11.0% in financial year 2022. Also, it has successfully lowered the debt portion on its balance sheet, resulting in a debt-equity ratio of 0.06, making it a relatively less risky investment than its peers. Looking at last 10 years' performance, just like an other pharma company, we can observe a sharp decline in the profit of DRL during financial year 2015 to financial year 2020. The main reason for the volatility are pricing pressure in the US. A rapid rise in companies producing generic drugs resulted in significant erosion of generic drugs prices over the years. Since the share of generic business in Dr. Reddy's overall sale is high, it severely affected the company. Regulatory companies. The number of warning letters issued by the US FDA rose by over 200% from 42 in 2015 to 127 in 2018. Dr. Reddy's also received warning letter by 3 of its manufacturing facilities. Another reason was domestic price regulations. By 2019, the NPPA had price capped more than 1,000 drugs, and companies slowed down the production of drugs subject to these price controls. Rising API costs, reduction in products, launches were some of the other reasons that significantly affected the organization. Comparing DRL profit margins with those of its rivals, they reside within the same range, such as Zydus, Cipla, and Sun Pharma, which have net profit margins of 11.58%, 12.46%, and 19.5% respectively. Now let's talk about region-wise revenue segments. Major markets of Dr. Reddy includes US, India, China, and Europe. North America Generics is Dr. Reddy's largest market and has crossed the $1 billion revenue mark for the second consecutive year. In financial year 2023, it contributed to around 48% of company's global generic sales, while Cipla and Sun Pharma have 26% and 31% revenue contribution from the US respectively. The US contributes 41% of Dr. Reddy's total sales. US is a very important market for Dr. Reddy's, obviously, but it's not the only market. Revenue from Europe in financial year 2023 was rupees 17.6 billion, representing a growth of 6% over the previous year. Currently, Europe comprises 8% of its global generic sales. Revenue from emerging market for financial year 2023 was rupees 45.5 billion, which remained flat compared to the previous year. Revenue from India in financial year 2023 was rupees 48.9 billion with a growth of 17% as compared to the previous year. The PSAI business recorded revenues of rupees 29.1 billion in financial year 2023, a decline of 5% compared to the previous year. The PSAI segment of Dr. Reddy primarily consists of business of manufacturing and marketing active pharmaceutical ingredient and intermediates, also known as APIs, which are the principal ingredient for finished pharmaceutical products. APIs become finished pharmaceutical products when the dosages are fixed in a form ready for human consumption, such as tablet, capsule, or liquid, using additional inactive ingredients. During the year, it filed 134 Drug Master Files (DMFs) worldwide, including 12 filings in the US. Some of its leading brands in the emerging market include the following: Nice Tablet, Omaze Capsule, Clam 625 Tablet, Rezo 10:20 tablets, Ketorol DT. 16 of their brand, including these, are among the top 300 brands for the Indian pharmaceuticals market. In financial year 2023, the company filed 12 new abbreviated new drug application ANDAs with the US Food and Drug Administration US FDA. As of March 31, 2023, it had 86 generic filings pending approval from US FDA. These comprise 81 ANDAs and 5 new drug application NDAs. Of 86 ANDAs, 45 are Para 4 application, and that 18 of these have the first to file status. Now let's talk about ESG and CSR. Apart from phenomenal financial performance, Dr. Reddy's is also committed to deliver its ESG agenda by generating value for its stakeholders, driving sustainability with technological progress and manufacturing excellence. Businesses today have realized that ESG is just not a social license to operate, but a powerful medium to communicate how company creates long-term value for its stakeholders. During the year 2023, company spent rupees 510 million on CSR activities including healthcare, education, skilling and livelihood, and also on environment. Let's look at some of the ESG aspirations of the company and the progress made so far. It established a goal to serve 1.5 billion patents by year 2030 and has reached 689 million plus patents this year. It has achieved the transition to 42% electricity through renewable resources against the set target of 100% by 2030. Similarly, with fuel change, energy efficiency, process optimization, and renewable power initiatives, it achieved 30% carbon neutrality during the year. The company also achieved the 6th highest score out of 347 companies assessed in the pharmaceuticals industry in the S&P Global CSA. Earlier in 2021, Dr. Reddy's was ranked as the top pharmaceutical company in India based on CRISIL's ESG score from among 225 companies evaluated by the CRISIL Research Center. Company's school improvement program has helped educate over 65,400 students across 229 schools in India, and Community Health Initiative Program CHIP has provided 16,000 free consultation and medication to the patients. In FY 2023, it also implemented an agri-water saving technique in paddy fields in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. It continues to encourage sustainable agriculture practices and reduce the strain on freshwater resources in the region. Now let's talk about future prospects. Dr. Reddy's Laboratories have an ambitious growth strategy classifying its short-term and long-term plans into Horizon 1 and Horizon 2 respectively. It plans to chase long-term growth through merger and acquisitions while focusing on its core businesses of active pharmaceutical ingredients, branded generics, biosimilars and over-the-counter drugs to grow over the short term. For its Horizon 2 bets, Dr. Reddy's plan to explore new areas such as digital healthcare services, biologics, cell and gene therapy, and disease management. Apart from looking for inorganic opportunities, it is also investing in various businesses that may sustain long-term growth. For instance, it is building a global pipeline of biosimilars, developing new chemical entities for immune oncology therapy. Now let's talk about CDMO operations. However, recently, Form 483 with 10 observation was issued by US FDA as a result of the inspection held at Banchpulli unit in Hyderabad, which has examined from the 19th to the 27th October. This facility is a critical site for Dr. Reddy's as it manufactures more than 100 products, including 4 of their top 10 products from this particular site. Also, it contributes around 30% to the company's US revenue. Observation highlights issues of microbial contamination along with problems like data integrity and market compliance. While multiple observations were issued, we do not have any further update on the same. Now let's move to our conclusion. Overall, financial year 2023 has been extraordinary for Dr. Reddy's. Also, ICRA projects 7 to 9% revenue growth in financial year 2024 for a sample set of 25 Indian pharmaceutical firms that present 60% of the industry. Analysts are also upbeat about the Dr. Reddy's stock considering the new launches and healthy revenue posted in the recent years. Dr. Reddy's share price has grown at approximately 17% CAGR over the past 5 years. So that was all. Thanks for joining us today on India Business Insights. If you found this video informative, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more such content on business research, industry insights, and the latest trends.